Hi and hello, my name is Cass, and welcome to my channel where I read a lot of books and I talk about them. Today on the agenda, as you can probably see from the very large stacks of books behind me, I will be doing an embossing video again. What is the theme today? It is special editions. So all of my books that I have gotten that are pretty and special, with some exceptions, because I'm not gonna just emboss one book in a series. So there's some additional. But yeah, so I'm just gonna hit all of my special editions this video. Sans, of course, all of my Katie Robert books that are like the deluxe editions, because I did those in my last video, so we will no longer be doing that. But I have a bunch of books to get through, and we'll sit and we'll talk about them. Today's embosser is a little different. It's a newer one that I have from a friend of mine who got it for me for Christmas this last year. And it's very cute. It's a book with a rose coming out of it. Because my other embosser I got from my best friend a few years back, and it's a cat sitting on a moon. But yeah, so point of view swap. Alright, as you can see today, last time I did mostly like gold and like one silver. Today we have a little more variety planned. I had thought I had red ones, and it seems like actually I don't, which is very sad, but it's possible I just lost them. I don't remember, but I'm going to do my best to kind of pair them with the book, but there's only so much I can do about that with the colors I have, but regardless. But like last time, I'm just gonna pick up the books, and as I do them, I'm gonna talk about them. So yeah, so we're gonna start with what is technically my most recent completed read. I'm in the middle of my first April read at the moment. It's going a little slowly, but that's because I've been playing an Otome game nonstop because I'm trying to get through it so I can send it back to my sister. But yeah, so we're gonna start with this. It's my newest book buy also. Technically my grandma bought it for me. So yeah, I'm sure, yeah, my March wrap-up should have gone up by now. So I loved this book. It was so good. I am a theater person, and this is theater-based, in a, fantasy world, and it was just awesome. So yeah, anyway, so of course I'm going to mark it, and it does have, like, you can see the deluxe. This is also my opportunity to show off all of my deluxe editions. So with this one, the thing about the stained edges on this one is, this is really cool with the arrow with the gold at the end, and it actually has story importance. But unfortunately, I don't know if, like, it ended up being because of me, or if this is just how it ended up being, but, like, I don't know if you can see it, but you can kind of see where the stained edges aren't super, like, consistent, and that's really unfortunate. And they're kind of dusty, so that's really sad. I've noticed, the thing is, I've noticed that more recently with books I get, because I mean everyone and their mother talks about the book talk stuff, and that a lot more books are coming out with, like, the sprayed edges, and some people really don't like that and some people do. Personally, I don't mind it. I think they're pretty, usually. But I've also unfortunately noticed that the more common it becomes, the less care seems to be put into it. And I think a problem of it is that, like, there are a lot of paperbacks that have sprayed edges. And I think paperbacks struggle with it the most because there's no, like, cover to, like, kind of protect them from getting messed up, is what it feels like. I don't know for sure. I'm not a person who does books, by which I mean makes books. So yeah, regardless, you know, I am kind of sad about that, but it does have this really beautiful art of the playhouse on the inside, which I think is really cool. The cover itself is pretty plain, except for the inside that has the comedy tragedy masks. But overall, it's a very pretty book. I really liked it. It is, of course, you know, currently my top read. And because of that, I'm going to give it a gold embosser. I actually have, you can kind of see that. But I already have one from when I was testing the last time I did an embossing video. So I'm just going to use that for this. Make our lives easier. Plus, I've already just sat and, you know, rattled on about this book for 5 minutes. But yeah, now belongs officially to my library. This is one of, I'm also doing, originally I was going to do this embossing video for my special editions, a little later in the year. I think I was going to try and wait until I got another book that I think is a deluxe edition or something. But I'm going to be sending, a few of my books to my sister for her to read. This one included, because I read this and went, well, now you have to read it, so someone will talk to me about it. So this is one of them. Then next on our pile, I'm not sending the Study in Drowning 2 books to her because she already owns these 2. I bought them for her last year. But she does not have an archive of romance, and I told her not to bother to get it because I have it, so I can just send it to her. And it's such a short read that I was like, yeah, don't spend, you know, $16 on it. I'll send it to you. You can read the epilogue and just, you know, see all the art and everything. But like I said, not everything is a special edition that I'm doing, but this is a part of my series of special editions, and so I'm gonna mark it too. But in any case, let's do this. This really is just an excuse to show off these. But yeah, my special edition of Study in Drowning. Both Study in Drowning and Theory of Dreaming, they both have these cool bookshelf stained edges that are really cool. And of course they change. This one's more red and this one's more blue. And honestly, these sprayed edges look really good. They're a really cool design. I don't really see any like obvious spots where it wasn't hit. And then, you know, the inside pages are really pretty. But honestly, I try and read my hardbacks without their dust jackets because I carry them around in my bag. But yeah, when I was reading this without it, the front and sides are just gorgeous. They're so beautiful. So everyone was like, ooh, what book is that? That's so pretty. And I'm like, right, isn't it so pretty? I didn't like Theory and Dreamings as much. Like, it's still very beautiful, don't get me wrong. And you can see, like, the fish and shells that, and I assume this is Effie's ribbon. But I don't know, I just like the first one's design a little more, or maybe it's the coloring, but it's still gorgeous. No complaints. But yeah, these are beautiful. Oh yeah, I just realized that there's like no summary on the inside of this one, because this one does have the summary, this one just doesn't. In any case, but yeah, so the insides of these books are really cool. Even this one, that it has all the art of Preston and Effie, which I love on the inside. It doesn't have anything on the outside really, but I think that art's really pretty. But yeah, so what color should I do I feel like blue. I feel like it's gotta be blue, you know, because they're so blue coated. So we're gonna do this. I really like the Study in Drowning books. I was originally going to buddy read these with my sister, but she got super busy at the start of the year because these are the first books I read in my 100 book challenge. And we were going to read them together. Ooh, that looks really pretty. But since she got busy and she couldn't, she has finally started reading them. I think, I'm trying to remember if she's finished them both, or if she's just finished the first one. I'll put it here. But yeah, so I am sending her the Archive of Romance one, so once she's done, she can just read that. Yeah. Alright, there's that one. Should I do blue for Archive of Romance too? Maybe I'll do purple for Archive of Romance since I don't have pink. Don't mind my arm shaking as I press it. I have noodle arms, as I say. Not terribly strong of a person. I used to be a lot stronger, but alas, chronic illness harasses us all. Not really, only some of us, but nonetheless. Yeah, I'm gonna do purple for this one. So it's still kind of in that same theme-ish, but it's a little different because it's not a full novel, and also it kind of changes the color vibes into more of a pinky, and I don't have red or pink, so you know what, we'll take purple. Sometimes you take what you can get when you are Boo Boo the Fool, and where should I put this? I'll put it here. Put it right there. Yeah. I can't really see it, but sorry, brief pause. One of my, both of them are out technically, but my lights on my camera stand have died on me, so one's going to charge. We're just going to use more natural light ish to get through. But here are all of these. Yeah, I really liked this series. They were the first ones that I read this year, and I'm glad I did. They were pretty high. I think they were my number one. No, they weren't. Not by the time I did my wrap up. But they were pretty high on my top 10. I think at this point, I think they're still on there, but barely. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's been some stiff competition. We're only I'm only 3 months into my little reading journey. And yeah, the competition is stiff, let me tell you. I just keep finding apparently I've just been not reading for so long, and now that I'm finally reading again, I'm just oh my gosh, books are awesome. Who would have thought? So this is a book I actually didn't read on the channel. We're actually getting into a couple of those. I read this before that. I think I read this right before. But this is Immortal Consequences. I should actually show the book. It's by Ivy Marie, and it's actually really good. It's a dark academia about a school that's in the afterlife. And it's about these 6 students who are competing to become they're competing to get the chance to choose one of 2 things. They can either choose to move on if they win, or they can choose to become these super special people in the school who are kind of almost like a disciplinary committee kind of thing. But it also means they'll never fade away, because that's a threat. So yeah, I got this edition. It's obviously quite beautiful. It's got these very pretty stained edges. I'm trying to remember. There isn't really anything on the inside. And there's just, there's this, and then the side is almost entirely in like this bronze. But yeah, it's a pretty good book. I think it was one of the longer, because it's pretty long. It was one of the, yeah, it's like 500 pages. So for me, you know, having just started like consistently reading again at that point, because I read this in December, I think it was like the biggest book I had tackled since I started reading again. But I got through it, and I'm starting to get faster. I'm generally faster at reading now. I think I'll do purple on this one too. There. Sorry for the camera adjustment. I edited it out, but I super dropped my thing, my embosser, and when I did, I hit the camera. So this is not quite what it was before. But sometimes you kind of just roll with the punches, because I'm not about to futz with trying to find the exact right angle again. Anyway, as I was saying, I really like this book. It's kind of messed up. It's a YA book. But it's, it does that thing that YA tends to do of, like, we can't talk about, like, sex and such. But don't worry, we can gruesomely injure and kill people. Don't worry, it's still YA. Which is fine. You know, I don't personally have any particular gripes. I just think it's silly, generally, that, that people are like, yeah, this is okay, but not this. And they're both just not particularly great. But it's definitely an older YA book. I really wish the, like, I know we have, like, YA that's young adult, but, like, I kind of wish there was, like, another category. I'm trying to remember, someone I follow had mentioned it before, that it tried to kind of pick up, maybe it was, like, upper YA or something, but something for, like, 16 to 18-year-olds who are gonna be on a different, like, reading level and, like, mental level generally than, like, you know, 12 to 14. But regardless, there's just such a wide variety in YA, and there's a lot of discussion right now of, like, what about sexual content in, you know, YA books? Is it ever appropriate? And I think that's the thing right there of, like, why it would be a good idea to have a separation between, like, young teenagers, quote unquote, and, like, upper teenagers, like, true young adults. Because when you're 16 to 18, like, speaking from personal experience, like, I knew what that stuff was. And I was, like, curious about it, yes, but, like, I read books that had that stuff in it, and I was cool. And I was like, okay, this is what this is. And it wasn't explicit or anything. I read the House of Night series back then. Not the whole thing. I did a reread a few years ago of the whole thing to finally finish it out. Anyway, I mean, these embossing videos really exist for me to go on a tangent and for you to watch my hands as I talk at my microphone. But yeah, I don't know. I am not nearly educated enough in this specific department to really have a huge opinion on it, I guess. I mean, I have opinions, but to speak, like, succulently about it. Succulent is not the right word. Succinctly. To speak succinctly about it. But yeah, off of the subject of YA books, we are onto adult books. Yeah, these are definitely adult books. So this is another one of those series, that, only one of these books are a special edition. The second one, A Curse Carved in Bone, has these, frankly, really gorgeous, like, metallic red sprayed edges. And here's another book that I wish I had, I wish I had red for, because red would be perfect, but I don't. So we'll just, we'll improvise. Maybe we'll do purple again. Anyway, so this is the Fate Inked in Blood duology by Danielle L. Jensen. This is another series I read before I started the channel, before I started my whole 100 books challenge and everything. I read this last year. And frankly, Fate Inked in Blood, if I remember right, had been on my my shelf for a while. And I don't even remember why I got this. Maybe, oh, I know why I got this. My grandma bought it for me for Christmas a couple years back. Because I thought it looked really cool. So it sat on my shelf for a couple years. Until I saw the second one on a shelf, and I was like, oh, well, this is gorgeous. It has these beautiful, metallic edges and everything. So I went ahead and bought it, and I'm like, well, shit, now I have to read it. Obviously. So I did. I read both of them. They're pretty good. I didn't read a lot of... Frankly, I didn't read a lot of books last year, but they were in my top 10, I think. I think they were low on the top 10, but they were in there. So yeah, I'm gonna do blue for the first one, obviously. But Fate Inked in Blood is about a woman named Freya, who lives in a world where gods, the Norse gods, can gift children like a drop of their blood. And that's how demigods technically are created in this world. And these demigods have different powers not only based on their parent, but also they can get like several different things, I believe. If I remember correctly, like you can get like separate abilities from the same god. But all of the abilities that we see in this book generally are pretty distinct. Like, you don't see, like, distinct per god, because, like, you don't really see two children of the same god. You mostly see, just one of each. So I could be wrong about that assumption, but I believe so. But yeah, so it's about Freya. She ends up being a child of, what's her name? I think it's not on here, but I think it's Helm. And because she's a child of Hel, who's like not Hel, Heil? Oh, it's Hiel. It means she's a shield maiden, which means she can like conjure a shield that like blocks literally any blow. So yeah, therefore she gets dragged into like prophecy, and it's some of the things that happen to her are just awful. It's messed up, but yeah, she, of course, it's a romantasy, so she, falls in love with a man, who's like the son of the guy who, is using her for the prophecy and everything. But yeah, the second book has like a lot of twists. Like, it turns a lot of what you thought you knew on your head. And a couple things, like, I not to toot my own horn here, a couple things I guessed, and I'm not gonna, like, be specific about that, because it's big old spoilers. Man, I need to push these down more, because I'm barely seeing it. But yeah, I'm not gonna spoil. But as you can tell probably from the cover of the second one, things get real in this one. Things get crazy. And honestly, the best thing that this could give me, on the back of both books, it has an endorsement from Katie Robert. And as we all know on this channel, I love Katie Robert. I'm always very excited whenever she puts out a new book. In fact, her first fantasy is coming out later this year. I've already pre-ordered it. Of course I have. Oh. But I'm very excited to read that. So, hoo-hoo. All right. We're on to our final two books. I I didn't expect this video to be super long. This video really is just me sitting here talking to my microphone while I chat about books that I have. But as I talked about in January when I read these are the One Dark Window series, and my version of One Dark Window is a very pretty deluxe edition that I got intentionally, or I think my grandma did. I don't remember. I gotta sneeze. Okay. But yeah, so it's nice and shiny. It's got these pretty sprayed edges, and one of my favorite parts is that the front of the hardcover has the girl, the king, and the monster they became, because that's awesome. And then, of course, the inside has the Providence cards, which is super awesome. But yeah, I also love this book. These books stayed in my #1 slot for so long. And they only recently, like literally this month, they got, obviously if you've seen my wrap up, you know this, they got displaced. Not by 1 slot, but by 2. March was the season of some good reads, apparently. So yeah, I love, that doesn't mean I love the One Dark Window series. I highly recommend it. In fact, this is the reason that I was originally going to do this video earlier, before I got Stage Set for Villains, is I'm sending these to my sister, because I'm like, hey, I need you to read this. I need you to understand what I'm talking about when I talk about these books, because they're so good, and I need you to read them. So I'm sending these to her as well. I'm sending her a big old care package with a fair amount of books and some snackies and her bunch of her Steam games, because I've held them hostage for like 1.5 years, 2 years at this point. To be fair, in my defense, she hasn't asked for them back until now. And she's like, hey Cass, I would actually like those back. And I'm like, oh, you're so right. I should probably get those back, given I haven't touched my Switch in 6 months. So I am back on the Switch, trying to finish these Otome games, that are actually very good. I'm doing in case anyone's curious about what I'm gaming right now, it's the Code Realize games. I'm almost all the way through the first one, and then I'll start the next one, and hopefully I will get them back to her soon. But yeah, so here's the last. This one, of course, isn't a special edition. I decided not to spend the money, and now I kind of wish I had, because I love these books so much, but it's okay. I need to get, I want to get The Night and the Moth, because I really love Rachel Gillig. At least I love these 2 books. And I had already been interested in The Night and the Moth before I read these 2 books. So yeah, I'm gonna get it eventually and read that. But yeah. Hello, brand new angle. From the front instead of right here. Yeah, so that's all my embossing. I just rattled on and on for the last 30 minutes. I doubt this video will be 30 minutes by the time I'm done editing it, because I fully dropped stuff, and rattled around a bunch. But regardless, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed me just chatting, about a little bit of everything and nothing all at once. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!